Lang has just left. He has told you that the ritual will take place on the dawn of the second day. Did he say something about an inn? A giant cheer erupts from the crowd. And you see a man is standing in the center of the arena. A giant serpent appears. It's enormous. It's like nothing that you've ever seen. Clamps down on him, sucks all of the life out of him. In fact, he's just writhing there, and you can see all of his insides are being literally sucked inside of this viper. My name's Warwick. I'm a trader of sorts. What if I had a way of getting you off this island? That coin purse on that viper, well,
you would risk not performing the ritual and putting the rest of the world in peril.
So Lang says.
I think we could win, but the risk is not worth it.
If what Lang has said is true, if we go in there, he'll save us, won't he?
Should we win, we could take it as a sign that perhaps someone other than Lang is looking out for us.
I'm with you. This will be a good test. If we die, we die. If we don't, destiny has something in mind for us.
If we win, I will enter this temple with you both, and we will save the world.
the viper drops lifelessly to the floor. The crowd is deathly silent. The townsfolk rush down into the arena. They pick you up on their shoulders. They're all hugging you and cheering, and they kind of start to lead you back towards the bar. Meet me at the blacksmith's. 3 hours. Disappears into the crowd. Welcome back, everyone, to this chapter 5 of A Cast of Players, The Ritual of the Blood Temple. A very exciting session we had last time. You all decided to fight the Viper, and you vanquished it. Yes. Well done. So where we left you, Warwick had just approached you, living up to his side of the bargain. He'd left you at the bar. You're currently surrounded by adoring townsfolk as they celebrate in your victory. He pulled you aside and said, meet me at the blacksmith in 3 hours. He then disappeared into the crowd. So, that is where we left it. Essentially what happens next is Anarch stumbles over towards you. That was incredible. I mean, I won so much money. Everything about that was it. Did you see her? He just stops and takes a big swig. I mean, what? Why ever would you even do such a thing?
We had our reasons.
Death wishes? What was it?
It was a test.
A test? What for?
This ritual that this Charlang wants us to do. I look over at Hakote and at Pollux. And finally at Jericho. Maybe there is some truth to it. Maybe we are being watched out for.
Well, that's what I was looking for. Only problem is, I can't go with Warwick now.
Go with? A man plays one game of cards and the world is turned on its head. Will you please explain to me what's going on?
What do you make of this whole ritual, Anarch?
Oh, well, I flipped a coin.
And what did Skyval tell you?
I'm supposed to be here.
That was our flip of the coin.
Ah, I see. I mean, I don't, but if you needed a sign from the gods, defeating that serpent, well, that was no mean feat. You all fought well, like true warriors. I must say I do feel more confident going into this temple now, knowing that you can fight. I won't have to save you.
Just a quick question. The money for winning that fight, is it supposed to be distributed amongst us four?
We didn't place a bet.
So all of the purse, according to Warwick, he's obviously collected a really large portion of it, and that is the money that will get you off.
Right, so we're not supposed to
You get no money.
collect it and give it to him.
No.
So we have no reason to even go to see him.
If you don't, well, unless you want to get off the island.
That's the question, isn't it?
Hmm?
So Hakote looks at you all and says, "So we don't go to Warwick."
I don't feel like I can at this stage. That test needed to be done. We're still here. That's what we were searching for. That
Yes.
serpent's dead. We're alive. All of us. Well, he sort of raises his arm. Just.
I am with Jericho, and as I said to both of you, we lived. We slew the serpent. That is the sign, I think. I still do not believe, nor do I trust Charlang. But perhaps we are meant to be here. We are meant to enter that temple. But mark my words, if I do come out of that temple, Charlang will wish that I had died at that serpent.
Hakote nods.
Yeah, the adrenaline of victory kind of has worn off Pollux now, and I remember him being pretty well beaten up by the serpent. So he's just kind of like holding himself up on a bar or a ledge, and he's kind of nodding with you all, and he says, "I have no plans to leave this island."
So, let me get this straight, and I kind of is catching up. That man offered to get us off the island.
So he claims.
And were not going to take that?
Unfortunately, Anarch, the offer was for 4. Not 5. Specifically us 4.
I see. Well, if you're not going to take it...
Skyver has told you to be here. You would go against him.
We seem to go against each other.
That is Skyver's way.
Very well. After watching you fight, it does seem to leave now would be a grave error. So he just got a lot of money for nothing then. Now that makes me very sad. However, as I said, I won quite a bit as well. And he gets up, so he pulls out the pouch that he dropped down, and then he pulls out another one and puts it down here. Gentlemen, there was a time where I thought of joining you in that pit, but you seem to have it under control. Almost. And, well, the least I can do is buy us some drinks. Shall we sit, drink, and perhaps I can get someone to look at your wounds as well?
Yeah, Hakote nods. He is badly wounded.
Sure. Cool. So Anna kind of slinks away. Some of the Geisha women come over. They kind of seat you in like a booth around the back, and people, although they're kind of looking at you, they give you a bit more space now. Your wounds are tended to. Basically, you kind of get the impression that they just kind of stop all the bleeding and all that sort of stuff. You kind of, and that seems to have made it clear that they do just enough that you can stay out and drink, and then maybe at another time we can get you patched up properly. So you know, some physicians come over. The small guy with like really long glasses, he kind of does some stitching and stuff while you're all drinking and carrying on, and patches you up well enough. And you know, you continue on into the evening. You can talk if you wish, or you can return to your quarters at any time.
Once we've been patched up, I take a swig of drink that Anarch's bought. I presume Anarch's still with us.
Oh yeah.
I turn to the
and
four.
he's drunk now. Like he's kind
Good
of
man.
Yeah.
I turn to the 4 of them and I stand up from the table. I'm not going far. I just have something to collect. And I disappear off into the crowd.
Okay. Cool.
I'm still in the pub.
Yeah.
But I will return shortly.
Okay. Very good.
I don't suppose we can tell how late in the evening it is or anything like that. Just out of curiosity.
Late.
Yeah.
Yeah. The excitement of the inn is starting to quiet down a little bit, but you do get a feeling that because of what's just happened, this place is a lot more lively than it normally would be at this time of night. The band is still playing, for example, and you've now been here a couple of hours at least, and they haven't stopped. So, yeah, it's getting on.
Yeah.
You're probably getting a bit tired.
Yeah, I can imagine. Like, I would say for the
Poor
most...
Pollux.
Yeah.
He's a sensitive one.
What can I say? No, yeah, Pollux has basically been kind of sat, like not upright, just kind of like leaning back. He probably has no intention to leave just yet. He's just kind of content to just be resting in the booth. He takes the occasional sip of what I imagine he got wine, and he's smoking his tobacco in his pipe as well. And he's kind of like, he's not really looking at anyone, but he's in the room, but he's kind of like looking off, almost like it looks somewhat vacant, but you can tell that he's still present in the room at least.
Sure.
Yeah.
Is there in the inn? Is there anywhere that where we can like wash up? Because like, so Jericho, I don't know if you remember, he's got this like big scruffy beard and he's not bathed in a while and he's covered in blood and stuff. Is there anywhere he could go in the inn to sort himself out?
Not in the inn so much, no.
Okay.
However, that might be something you could get back in your lodgings.
Okay. Cool. Alright, I'll do that later on.
Cool.
Yeah, Hakote drinks with you, and he turns to you at one point, probably about an hour after we've started drinking more, and he says, I wanted to thank you for your help in the arena. I would have fallen if not for you.
I think of it off it. That's why I did it. I needed you. We all needed you.
We all needed each other, I think.
Aye.
But I am curious. Why now do you believe
Believe in what?
in the ritual?
I'm not sure I believe in the ritual. I believe destiny's brought us together for whatever reason. Why ever we're here, whatever we have to do in there's a reason we're here. We killed that serpent. Some divine hand moved us down there. He said, we all need to go in. We're all still here. That's the test I was willing to take. And now I feel we need to see it through. But the ritual, whatever it is, I don't know.
You believe it was the will of the gods that we had victory?
Aye. I've been seeking purpose for a long time, and it feels like the path that we're walking now is one that I need to tread.
Your shield is defaced. What god do you follow?
I follow Bohana. I always have done. The shield used to bear the emblem of an order that I was part of in Farandir. Unfortunately, my time ended with that order. He sort of gets it off his back and sort of shows you it. I removed what used to be on here to try and help me forget about that time. It's been a long, long time since I bought the emblem of my order. I was betrayed by my brothers, and I've been lost ever since.
And you have not forgotten, have you?
Forgotten what?
Why you left?
I know why I left. I was betrayed by my brothers.
And Tiana kind of shuffles a bit uncomfortably in his chair when you say something like that.
We were together for many years. For the longest time, I thought we were looking out for the people of Farandir. I was saved by that city. They took me in, and I repaid many debts in my time. But on one particular occasion, we were sent out by the master of our lodge to find something. Unbeknownst to me, my brothers, as I thought they were, had ulterior motives, and, well, let's just say that I became collateral in their search for treasures and riches. And ever since then, I've been lost and wandering a dark path with no end. So, being here with you and you, it feels like there's a dim light that's just popped up. So, for now, I'll walk towards that light.
We seem to all have left our old lives behind. we are all wanderers.
Running from something.
Where are you running from?
My past. I also was betrayed. Now I put my trust in Skylar. At least I know it's 50-50.
Better odds, eh?
So it would seem. But I'm not sure I wish to speak of all of that tonight. I'm having too much fun.
Kosei looks into his cup, has another long draft, and then doesn't say anything.
Where are you, Rin?
What are you doing?
Right. So I have gone to the corpse of the viper.
Oh yeah, sure.
And essentially,
So you get okay, fine, yeah. What do you do? What let me
well, I approach the corpse of the viper. I look around. I grab my daggers that I've thrown,
Sure.
put them back in. I look around.
So you do notice the snake charmer is sat by himself on the other side of the, and he's kind of looking at his viper, and it looks like he's been crying.
I sort of regard him. I approach him. Do you speak the common?
A little.
Your creature? From a hatchling?
Baby.
I understand. It is always tough to lose something that you have cared for so well.
Yes.
May I honor its prowess in combat. Amongst my people, and he pulls out his totem, essentially. Amongst my people, those that fought and those that are defeated are carried with those that bested them, so that their prowess would be remembered. It is an honor amongst my people to have a part of you taken by the warrior that has bested you. It is not a trophy of defeat, but a remembrance of a great battle.
Please.
I go back to the snake, and I pry off 4 of the scales. So I'm there for probably quite some time, which is quite tough. I pocket the scales, I look over to the charmer, I bow again, place a hand on the head of the snake, and then I go off to rejoin the others.
Sure. Okay. Very good.
When I return, I lay out the scales on the table, and I slide one to Hakote, to Pollux, and to Jericho, and I explain the same sort of thing, that amongst the Autop people, carrying a piece of a great battle is an honor for that you've defeated, alongside a remembrance of, your victory, essentially. If you do not wish to take, that is fine. But the 4 of us did defeat that creature together. In some capacity, we all had a part to play. The hunt, I will not call it that, but it died for perhaps some greater purpose. The coin flip, as I say, as I regard Anarch. And with that, I take the 4th one, and I kind of pry it onto my totem and tuck it under my shirt. How big are the scales?
They're big.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah, I kind of take it off the table and regard it for a moment. And look at you. Put it in my satchel.
Hakote looks at the scale. He touches it, and he slides it slowly back to you. And he says, "Regretfully, I cannot accept. Bahana forbids me from having more than I need."
I respect that. Jericho sort of. Would I be able to like snap a bit off?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So he snaps a little bit off.
I mean, it's very hard work.
Yeah.
You'd probably need like some tools or something to do so. Really, like your bare hands are.
I do have some Smith's tools. Can I just like bash it with a hammer?
Really?
Sure.
I sort of raise up my arm and sort of you can see the two puncture holes. Bear in mind I'm on one move right now. That's quite enough. I'll take a little bit and sort of puts it in one of his pouches and sort of pushes the rest back to you if you want it.
No, I sort of the two that you've slid back. That's fine. I mean, I didn't realise they were quite that big. I probably would have done something similar.
Yeah.
I know that they were slightly smaller. I probably would have gone for the smallest ones. So pick up the wine. But yeah, no, I sort of in regard, and then I go back to drinking.
Sure. Cool. So, I mean, unless anyone has anything in particular that you want to say to each other, the night kind of continues on. It gets to the early hours of the morning. Anax has fallen asleep by this stage at the table. He's completely out cold. They're kind of like cleaning up now. The majority of the villagers have left. If you want to, well, essentially you're getting these looks like from the cleaners.
We're no heroes and all.
Yeah. So you kind of get the idea that it might be time to go.
Yeah, cool. So, yeah, with that, Polish just kind of like taps his pipe empty. He doesn't really look at you all directly, so he just goes, I need to rest, and just leaves.
Yeah, cool.
I reckon he will go off, before going to bed, he'll look for somewhere to bathe, because we're all, we're kind of been
Sure.
dirtied
okay.
up, as it were.
Yeah, I mean, there's nowhere in the middle of the night that you're going to find anywhere like that right now.
Okay. Like a water fountain, a well, or...
Well, there is a well at the front of your lodgings, you may remember, in the centre.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you could go there. I mean, don't forget, you do have serving people at your leisure back at your lodgings as well. I'm sure if you wanted a bath, you could probably speak to them. I believe they even said, anything you need, you need to ask.
I will do that.
Cool, so you go...
Yeah, Hakote will return to the lodgings.
So obviously the time has come and passed when you would have met Warwick. No one went. We'll skip through a couple of pages of stuff.
The trials and tribulations of DMing.
As I go with them, I ask one of the servers there for a shaving blade and a comb.
At the inn?
No, when we get back to our place.
Sure, okay, so you get back. You kind of try to rouse Anarch. He's asleep.
He's okay.
It's not happening. Okay, so you get back to your lodge. There's as before. There's one of those geisha-women who sits patiently at the door, just outside the door, waiting for you. When she sees you approach, she stands and bows. You kind of ask her for all this sort of stuff. So what actually happens is, about 20 to 30 minutes later, they return with large tubs of hot water, so it's being warmed over a fire for you. It's not quite large enough, it's not a bath, it's not quite large enough to fit in, but there's quite a lot in there, so you could You could probably stand in it and wash yourselves down and all that sort of stuff as well.
Yeah.
And she brings you shaving equipment as well.
Excellent.
So you tidy up. Really, unless
We're all in the same room, aren't we?
Yeah, your room is all the same.
Yeah, Hokose also asked for a bath.
Yeah. So when Jericho asks, they just bring one for each of you.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool. And yeah, I mean, unless there's anything else.
No, Hokose will retire.
Great. So you'll just go to sleep.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
You sleep very soundly. Nothing untoward happens in the evening.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Occasionally.
Nice little relax.
Okay, yeah, so you wake up, you've all had a full rest, so your hit points and spell slots and whatever have returned.
Hooray! Just an update on my description. So
I'm handsome now.
kind of.
I've actually tried to draw clearly with an iPad.
Yeah. So he's used the blade to shave his dome essentially, and it's like proper like skin. It's almost shiny. It's quite nice, like a proper skin head. Yeah, just like this. It's nice. His
You must use the same razor I do.
yeah, his unkempt beard he's braided. So it's got much nicer looking. He sort of put some braids in there. He's looking pretty good. He's looking all right. He's sorted himself out. He looks less knackered than he did before. Obviously, he only has one eye still, so he's still got his eye patch. But is looking very much rejuvenated.
Very good. Okay, cool. So you all sleep. You're awake to the smell of food. The geisha woman putting the final touches on a cooked breakfast for you. So the smell of roasted ham, eggs, fresh bread. There's a slab of butter there as well. It smells delicious. She bows. Eat, masters. Today you have free reign of the village. However, your weapons must stay here. Failure to comply with this instruction shall be met with consequences. And she returns to her spot and sits where she is sat.
Pollux takes out a tiny dagger from his bag and just plops it on top of his bed.
I thought you were going to stab it then. Consequences, eh?
This took a dark turn. Okay, very good. Yeah, sure. I mean, you're still eating and stuff. This is only if you leave.
Yeah, over breakfast whilst we're eating.
Strange that we are required to keep our weapons here during the day, but nighttime is alright. I mean, we should be okay. You are essentially a weapon by yourself, and you are very, very close to Mana. We might be in a bit of a bother should we get involved in something that perhaps we're not meant to be involved in.
Aye. Well, we've done alright so far. Hopefully that's the supply of giant serpents out the way at least.
Hokose disarms and he wraps his sides in silk, puts them on top of his bed. I would explore today. I would know more of this Wudikang.
Agreed.
Aye, I'll come with you.
He finishes his breakfast and he gets up to leave.
Pollux does the same. He prepares his pipe with his tobacco and leaves as well.
He's got a bit of a habit, isn't he?
Hmm?
Got a bit of a habit, isn't he?
It's
Bad for you.
It's good stuff from my homeland. Should try something.
Okay, cool. So you get up and you leave. There's no sign of the dark-skinned warrior or Sahid. You see, however, there is one of the doors of the other lodge, which would be Sahid's and Anak's, is like half open. And as you peer through, you see Anak is sprawled out face down on his bed, snoring loudly. So he got home at some point.
Hokose sort of stops and observes for a moment, and then continues walking on. and then he says to the group, the three of us, The other three says, I wonder, what do you all make of our new friends? Will they respect the ritual?
Of course not. You have that one there who just seems to be doing this for the fun of it. As you heard, he flipped his coin for Skyvar. The odds came up to stay. The minute that you dangled the thread of escape to him, he seriously considered it. He would betray the will of the gods, and his sign is perhaps not as impactful as the one that we received. The warrior, I fear that he will, but only by virtue of he has no choice. As for the other one, Sahid was it? He prays to Samsun. If he feels that this is something that Samsun requires of him, he will do it. But I do not believe he will do it for the sake of saving the world, rather perhaps for following the will of his god. Which is fine, it works in our favour as well. As for the respect of the ritual, I can't say I will. I will attend, as I have mentioned. But, as I have also said, this is not a good place. And this ritual, I do not believe this ritual is being done for the good of the world.
As you say that, Samsun passes behind the tower, the Blood Temple, and a shadow kind of falls on all of you.
Well, that might answer that question then.
Do you all see every sign as the word of the gods? Or is it merely chance?
Quite a coincidence, don't you think?
The gods are in all things. This I think even you know. We have all heard the stories, the war in heaven, the creation of all of the races and the world, the destruction of the tree, the sacrifice that Bohana gave, the banishment of the Demiurge and his trickery as the Magus. Stories have power. Coincidences are meaningless. If you truly believed that this was a coincidence, would you still be here? You yourself have said that you believe this is the will of the gods to be here. This is the will of Bohana. What if Chaleng is right, as you have said?
That is my fear, that he is right and we do nothing. I am not saying I believe him, but I am saying, what if? That is a very great risk to take.
Stories have power here. And yes, sometimes the will of the gods is spoken. What will? Do you have a doubt? What if this will of the gods? What exactly do they want?
I doubt the words of Chaleng. I do not doubt the will of the gods.
What will is that? Do you know?
I would need to commune. I would need some time. Perhaps they will speak to me, as they have spoken before. But can anyone truly know the will of the gods? Of course not. It is all signs and interpretations.
Exactly. Haven't you ever felt merely like a pawn in someone else's game?
Of course, we are mortals. We are all pawns in the games of the gods.
Why do they use us? To what means?
Why do you play cards, or dice, or drink, or fornicate, or smoke.
To win, to dominate.
For fun. To win and to dominate is meaningless. It is survival.
Sometimes I wonder if they really care.
Jericho, do you believe that Bohanna still cares about you?
Well, I asked for help when we were facing that serpent. Didn't get that help. But I do believe she's still here in some means. Maybe it wasn't my time to get help. We're all part of a great game, but what part we have to play in that game is down to her.
You say that she did not help, and yet your hands healed my wounds. Whose power was that, if not that of Bohanna?
You make a good point, I suppose.
This one here is not at peace. You question the gods, but perhaps you should be questioning your own turmoil.
Your faith in the gods has never been shaken? Ever? Have you ever had times of doubt?
No.
And you are fortunate.
You can see the will of the gods every day, everywhere you look.
Aye,
The air we breathe.
and the death
That
that
is
surrounds us.
the cycle of life. You cannot have light without shadow. You cannot have life without death.
Can you not?
No. Or we would be gods ourselves.
Wouldn't that be something?
What do your people believe, Pollux?
My people.
Yes, your homeland. We know that many follow Bohanna, some more of the other gods. The fishes follow Nagal, the farmers follow Viriana. We know that Sahid follows Samsun quite fervently. My people believe in all of the gods in some capacity, again, depending on when and where they are needed. The man that toils the field will not necessarily praise to Nagal, but should he be required to fish for his family, he will, of course, offer his praises. I have not been to your people's lands. Are they true believers of the gods? Do they follow them quite strictly? Do they not?
They are believers, yes. My
What of
family,
you?
my people, we have no history of war, of battle. As I've said, I'm sure my family are farmers. I wanted to be an alchemist. I've followed Bohanna my entire life. I still do.
So where is this doubt coming
you-
from?
You can see he's kind of getting quite anxious about that line of questioning, but he goes, he gave me that doubt.
Last night you mentioned that, or rather you asked, why me and Jericho would not, like this, believe the words of Chai Lang and potentially give up our lives for the sake of the world. You were very adamant to almost die for the nature of saving people that you do not know.
Aye.
Surely that is the will of Bohanna. Self-sacrifice is one of the greatest things that she has ever taught us.
I said doubt, not disbelief. I still believe in Bohanna and praise her. Every day I can, every chance I get. I might praise her differently to you. Our way of worship was in the soil we sow, in the food we create, the plants we grow, the life we create. He made it more complicated. But I never disbelieved.
And who is this he that has caused you to doubt so?
You deserve the truth. All of you. He is a follower of Samsun. He is where my gifts come from. He is the voice you hear. He is inside me. I went to the capital of Samsa to learn. That's where I met him. Terrible accident happened. I don't remember. All I remember was waking up in rubble. That used to be the college. And his voice was in my head. He called himself Hieronymus. He has been troubled. He was surrounded by death. It's him where the doubt comes from.
But he is a passenger. He is not Pollux.
I am a host.
Which means you lead the way.
Not entirely. Sometimes I have no control. Mostly if I'm distressed, threatened. You see, he promised to look after me. He told me that maybe I could find a way for him to carry on in another host. That was what I was doing when you first saw me at the market. I was on my way to find, apparently, some people that might be able to help. He told me, I do this for him. I will be free to go home.
Well, then you need to tell him that he must do this for you to help him.
He knows. He
Then
said
his doubt can be cast aside for now.
I would not be so sure as to listen to the words of this man.
I have no choice. I am not dead yet. He's protected me so far.
Do you hear him now?
No, not always.
When does he speak to you?
Sometimes in my sleep. Sometimes when I am at rest, weak. Sometimes in the midst of battle, like with the viper.
When I was a boy, my father told me a story. He said that some men become aware of two forces within them. Of two wolves. He said that one wolf was good, wise, that wanted to protect and share the teachings of Bahana. And the other wolf was evil, dark, wanted to destroy the Monkal and all the people in Arcadon. This was evil. He said that in every man this battle rages, but in most they are only aware of one. I asked my father which of the two would win if you knew you were fighting. And he said of the two wolves, the one that always wins is the one that you feed. Every time you speak with this wolf, you feed him. Do not listen.
Even a wolf can be tamed. It is not easy, of course. This wolf, this Hieronymus, wishes you to do this task. He wishes to be fed. In order for him to be fed, he will need to do what you say. For the wolf that bites off the hand of that which feeds it will soon starve, as the hand will be not there to feed it again. But I do agree with Fakote. This Hieronymus, he is a passenger, and you must be the one in control, leading the way. But keep your guard up, I think. As I'm sure you have been doing.
I have tried, always.
And if the worst comes to worst, we will put you down, it is fine.
Please believe me. He knows that I must stay alive. And he knows you're not enemies of me. Allies, in fact. We are no danger to you. Only to those that would oppose us.
Well then, if we are all in agreement, us four will be doing this ritual. Us five?
Could say that.
The other three, I believe they will join us, although not for lack of some resistance. But we will make it through this ritual. We will appease the gods as and where is required. And I look around at this point, and then I will take Chilang's head.
If once it's done, what does it matter?
Exactly. What is there to lose? I mean, potentially our lives, but if that is the will of the gods, that is also the will of the gods.
Death is a doorway.
I look up at the sky. Has Samsung moved across past the tower at this point?
No, at this point. Because you've been talking for a while. But
Yeah.
it's still the path of a sun.
So what do we see? Like what's in our peripheral?
So, well, I'm assuming it sounds to me that was a conversation that you kind of just stopped outside of your lodging. So you're a bit further down the path. If you start to, I'm assuming you're going to move forward into the village.
Yeah.
So remember that off to the entirety of the village it's a walled town. It's quite a large town, but it is walled. Off to behind where the your lodgings are. So your houses don't look like anyone else's houses in there. They're quite lavish. Whereas when you start to move into town, they're all similar design. So they've all got like like rice paper walls. It's always kind of, it doesn't feel very cold in this area, so you feel like they're designed to be nice and airy. So yours are like one level. There's like a balcony that goes around all of the sides, a bamboo hut sort of thing. Whereas when you start to move into town, you'll see these, but they're kind of like multi-story ones, and each level, as you get closer, you see will probably hold like a different family in each, so they're like 3 to 4 stories high. So the village itself, as you start moving towards it, I'm assuming that's where you want to go. You could, you get to kind of a crossroads here. You could go into the farmland sort of area. The military barracks is like a separate walled-off section within the town. And then the village towards the inn where you were is kind of to the right. The main gate is then another sharp right down that way if you were to try and leave.
Yeah.
Good luck. So I'm assuming you want to head towards the village, or you can go somewhere else as well. Okay, cool. So the village is bustling this morning. So it's a far cry from the empty streets you saw last night. The peasants are going about their daily business, drawing carts of food, cleaning the stoops of their bamboo huts. You see one cart filled with what looks like spears and arrows heading towards the military barracks as it's being taken by a horse-led cart as it kind of moves past you as you come in. You see that there are guards on patrol in the streets, and they're wearing those masks that you saw when you were originally captured out on the beach, and they're quite a stark contrast to the rest of village life. The people here seem poor, but they seem content as well. They greet others as they pass. So there's children running around, there's chickens and small animals like dogs and cats around the area and stuff, and it seems okay. There's nothing untoward. The guards would give you the presence of Chai Lang and his forces there, but other than that, it just seems like a normal village, really. One thing you have noticed, though, is none of them are looking or engaging with you in any way. So they'll be quite chatty to each other, but as you walk past, they kind of look down.
So none of the guards are doing anything other than
patrolling.
patrolling.
They're just patrolling. They're wearing those masks and their left eyes where that red tear is coming out. So if they are looking at you, like the slits seem quite small, you can't really tell, but you're being left to your own devices. As you move further into the town, so you pass the inn where the piazza was, and you enter the marketplace. So there are various stalls, most of which seem to be selling produce, although you do notice there is a blacksmith, then what looks like a tailor as well. So the tailor has fine multicoloured silks on display. That's obviously where all the geishas go and get their clothing. On the outskirts of the market, you see there is a hut with a closed door. It's almost like this small windy path that it's just off. There's dried herbs that are hanging from the door, and there's a chimney at the top of it, and smoke seems to be billowing out of it.
I noticed that building in particular.
Yes, essentially it looks like some sort of healer or witch or something like that. The dry herbs hanging on the door is kind of like a universal sign that is somewhere where you would go if you needed a remedy or something of that nature. There's a little food stall. Someone's making some street style food. It seems to be seafood that they're cooking. It smells really nice, but you just have had a huge meal. Is there anything in particular that anyone is looking for or wants to go and have a look at?
I'd probably like to go to the blacksmith and see if they have any fine wares.
Sure, okay. So Jericho heads that way. Anyone else want to go anywhere else?
I'm just going to kind of mill around the market, just kind of take it in and not try and get like a gauge on the people here, just watch, just observe.
Is there anyone that sells dice?
I don't know why you're asking me.
Dungeon Master, do I see anyone that is selling dice?
I'm joking.
Yeah.
But you do need new dice.
Maybe
You can talk.
Yeah, I was going to say you two could maybe get some as well. I mean, like there's trinket stores and stuff like that. I'm sure if you were looking for
In-game dice.
in-game arcade on dice, we could rustle some up for you.
If everyone's sort of, because you've just gone straight off to the blacksmith, Hakote and you're starting to just go around the market.
I'm just kind of like milling, yeah.
Hakote goes over to a couple of the guards, just by himself. He approaches them.
Sure.
You see him muttering to them, and I don't know whether they're going to answer any of my questions, but after a sentence or two, seems one of the guards just walks off with the other one, and I'm given a bit of a shove, and I come back. So basically, I'm assuming that when I ask why we can't carry our weapons in the daylight, they're not going to.
No.
They're not going to play ball.
No.
Okay, fair enough. Then that's exactly what happens, because there's no point in role playing it out.
Sure. Yeah.
So as Hakote goes off to do that, I notice that okay, well, they're obviously dispersing, so I make my way towards that what
The
appears to be
hut.
the hut.
Sure.
What I imagine might be an alchemist of some sort or something like that.
Okay.
I go and check if it's open, because you said the door was shut, didn't you?
Yes, but there is fire billowing.
Yes.
Okay, cool, very good. No, so why don't we? So you're just kind of moving about. You've had a confrontation, and so this is all kind of happening at same but different times, right? Why don't we go over to Jericho? So you approach the blacksmith. There's a duo of two young men working. They seem to be working on more arrowheads, and you can see that they've been working on those spears. So you assume that they're working on stock for the military barracks at this time. They kind of nod at you when you come, and they kind of get back to their work.
Do I see any interesting looking weapons apart from those? Like, are there any swords or anything like that?
Yeah, there are swords there. There is more of those katana style weapons that you saw, that you faced really on the ship before it broke apart. There's you can tell they've been doing some leather work, reinforcing it with some sort of metal as well on armor. I mean, considering you're wearing plate and you've got like a shield and a long sword, if you're looking for like a replacement of that sort of gear, it doesn't seem to be geared towards the sort of weapons and armor that you would used to be fighting with.
Right.
The weapons are like, short swords, punch daggers, there's those katanas. They all seem more designed for a more, martial arts style of combat rather than how you would fight.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, you can talk to them.
Yeah.
Is there anything in particular you're looking for?
New sword.
What's wrong with the old one?
It didn't even pierce the snake's skin.
It's pretty strong.
No, it's not.
The snake is pretty strong.
If there's, I suppose so. If there's nothing that sort of appears, if it looks like more like military-based stuff, then I'll just have a quick browse and
Yeah, sure.
head
Okay.
on.
No worries. So you don't want to talk to them about anything?
Nah, it's fine.
you can't be.
But by this point, I would have followed Jericho.
Sure. Okay. Well, you two can catch up to each other now then, if you like.
It looks like a stone, which if you ask them, they can sharpen a sword for you or something.
No,
Okay.
So when I see you, I say, I asked the guards why you cannot carry our weapons.
were they forthcoming with any advice?
No,
Was it a surprise?
I thought if you don't ask, you don't get.
It is strange. I mean, we were allowed to yesterday, weren't we? What's different about today?
I don't know. There is also another thing which I wonder about. Why? Why did they attack us on the ship?
The guards.
I felt that they would have killed us. But if we were meant to be here?
Well, they nearly killed me. It was a close call. Unless they weren't the guards that we see here.
They wore the same masks.
And perhaps they were a disguise. Maybe they were trying to take us somewhere else.
Kote seems to consider this. Did you find anything in there?
No.
Say so.
No, there was nothing, nothing that I was hoping to find. Really, they seem to be working hard for the military here.
If I may, and I go to step in there.
Sure. Okay. So again, you see.
I sort of lower my head and look around at the wares. Are there any throwing weapons?
Yeah.
Such as?
Daggers. Are you looking for something particular?
Yeah.
What are you looking for?
Are there any shuriken?
Yeah.
Oh, there indeed.
There are some shuriken in there, yes.
Hakote nods at the. Is it a merchant or a blacksmith?
It's a. Well, he's both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hakote gestures to the shuriken.
Mm-hmm.
How much? $5. I don't think Hakote even owns. I think he might have like 2 gold coins.
I don't know what you're going to do there, then. That's a problem, isn't it?
So seeing you
Yeah,
fiddle
Hakote
around,
looks like it
fiddle
went-
around in your pouch.
Yeah, you could hear like the clink of a coin on a coin, and that's it.
Right. So Jericho will go over. Excuse me. To the blacksmith.
He looks at you.
It seems that my friend's a bit short. Can we come up with some sort of agreement for payment for these?
5.
Maybe he means 5 bronze.
No.
Hakote doesn't look at him, he sort of just stares at the wall.
So at this, at this you hear this. Allow me, brothers. And you turn around and you see Sahid stood there. So he reaches into a pouch, he pulls out 5 gold pieces and hands it to the man. So he kind of nods. What he does is he grabs the shuriken and he wraps them in something and he puts them underneath the table. They will be delivered.
Thank you. And I turn to Sahid and I bow very low.
Please. It is the least I can do.
Well, I thank you. This is very kind.
Well,
Sam soon be with you.
and you, brother. I believe that if we are to go into this trial together, we will need to work together.
Speaking of which, where have you been?
I had my morning prayers and then took a turn around the village. It is a pleasant place. Much poverty is here.
Right. Did Sam still answer your prayers?
Always. He rose.
Fair enough.
There was a rumor that 4 warriors defeated a great beast last night. I don't suppose that had anything to do with you.
Hakote looks at his wounds that have been bandaged and then looks at. Well, you're fully armoured up, aren't you, at the minute? Or are you not wearing your armour?
No, I mean at this point because
you're walking in the village.
Yeah, I'm just in my normal
So,
clothes.
yeah, so I look at your wounds and I look back to Sahid.
He's just smiling. My roommate came in very late, babbling some nonsense about slaying a serpent.
We had a battle. foolish, but I believe we all learned something from it.
And what is it that you learned?
That we are here for a reason.
Ah. And that was something you did not know.
I wasn't convinced, but it seems that our battle was a sign, and we are supposed to be here. As are you, it seems.
Yes.
So tell us, will you be coming with us into that temple?
Of course.
You seem very sure.
Well, Samsoon has always led me to the right place. Here I am. A stop on my journey home, it seems.
You believe then in the ritual?
I believe that the Demriarch runs deep in this place.
Then we must stop him.
Yes, that is my duty in life.
And mine.
Even if this Chai Lang is not all that he would appear, well, whatever he has in store for us, he will regret it if he crosses us. Me in particular.
Well, it's good to have you with us, brother.
Is there nothing here that you need? I have so little need for my money, it seems, in this place. And I have enough.
Not from here. As he says that, he says someone that sells silk and cloth and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, there's
So-
a tailor.
Cool. I'm just going to nip over to the tailor. I just want to ask him for some black cloth.
Sure, yeah, that's got that.
Cool.
Yeah.
I will have it.
Okay. So, how much do you need?
Right. So essentially, I'm planning on making a tabard, so sort of enough to go over.
Right, sure. Yeah, okay, it's like a silver piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, very good. Cool. So you kind of go, so he kind of looks at you and goes, I will continue my walk. Feel free to join me if you would wish, otherwise I will see you this evening.
I will walk with you.
Very good.
Akose follows.
Yeah. I have a wish to look at the farmland. It is not often where I am from, Samsar, that you see such fertile grass. I wish to feel it under my feet.
Good. Akose walks with him.
Sure. Cool. So you guys walk off. We'll come back to you, I think. So you're just kind of milling around.
Yeah, I'm just kind of milling around, just
Yeah.
trying to get a
You'll come
feel
back
for
to-
the populace.
Yeah.
You said that they're content.
Yeah, well, I mean, so for example, like in the marketplace, there's transactions being made, people selling their wares. You haven't noticed anything untoward. Like, although they're poor, you haven't noticed any beggars. There doesn't seem to be any sorts of thieves or anything that you had noticed. There are guards around as well, so that could be playing into it. But for example, you see kids running around, they're laughing and playing, and it just seems kind of like a happy place. And then obviously you turn around and there's this blood temple stood in the middle really of this town, and they seem to pay it no mind. It doesn't seem to weigh on them.
Okay. What I'm going to do is essentially I'm gonna go around to like all the stalls and just kind of browse.
Sure.
Try and engage with the shopkeepers as best as I suspect their broken common will allow.
Yeah.
And what I will do is for each one I'm going to sort of point
at the temple, point at the guards, and the tear, and just sort of say, what does it mean? This.
So you go to a produce
Yeah.
store first of all, and then there's a little old lady there, and she's got it kind of looks like root vegetables is what she's selling, and so she's hello, and you kind of say that, and she kind of looks at you for a moment, says, tomorrow you will see.
And if I want to see today?
Mana not right.
I see. Is there a temple here? A church? Place for worship?
And she points at the blood temple.
Many things.
And I will just continue to sort of mill around, essentially just ask the same thing to as many merchants as I can.
Yeah, so I mean, after that, like a lot of people are not as forthcoming. Some people don't seem to speak common either.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It's essentially just try my luck, really.
Yeah. I mean, that out of all of the information you got, that is the most pertinent.
Cool. Sort of I'll spend, however long that takes to do. And then what I will do is I will go up towards the alchemist's hut.
Sure.
Whether Pollux is still there or not at this point, I don't know.
Sure. Well, so
Good segue.
okay, so you head towards the hut. Okay, so you get there. The door is closed.
Can I tell if I can just open it or is it locked?
No.
Okay. I knock first actually.
Okay. So the door, as you knock, kind of goes.
I push on it, and as I go in, I call out, "Hello."
You don't hear anything.
Yeah. I enter very slowly.
Sure. It's not that bad, don't worry.
Stop it! Okay, well, so I enter slowly.
So you enter into. So it's quite a low hut. You're not too tall though. But
Yeah.
If you gentlemen there, you probably would be stooping down a little bit. The ground is made of dirt. In the centre there is a fire, and you can look up and you can see the hole in the roof. Something's bubbling away. You don't recognise the smell.
Right.
There are lots of different sorts of herbs hanging from the roof. There's a shelf with different coloured vials in there, and they have different coloured liquids in there as well. Other things seem to be floating in there as well. You can't really recognise anything without going closer. Sat in front of the fire, you see an old woman. She's wearing like tattered grey garments. Her hair is grey and it actually stands on end like this, almost like looks like she's been electrocuted. She's kind of looking down. She's not really looking. You can't really see her face at this point.
Okay, right. So I take a moment to kind of take the place in a little bit, and after a while, as I notice her, I'll say, "Hello."
So, the old woman's head looks up. You see her skin is quite grey as well, and it's got like old etch marks all over it. And something you realise quite suddenly is that she has no eyes. But she's looking at you.
Yeah.
She smiles.
As I go towards her, I say, "I hope I'm not bothering you." You are a master of the herb? Wonderful. This is an impressive place.
She puts her hand out like this.
As a like beckoning for me to come closer.
Mhm.
Yeah, like going closer.
Sure. So as you come closer,
Mm-hmm.
she suddenly reaches out and she grabs your hand,
Yep.
and you hear,
I'm startled, but I don't resist.
Yeah, and you hear in your head, I see you.
Whoa.
And the grip is quite
Yeah.
tight.
Where are you? I whisper.
I am everywhere.
Who are you?
I want to know who you are. Who you really are. Who is that hiding behind there? I wish to speak with him.
Why? What do you possibly want from me?
I need to know you're here. You are part of everything.
Yeah, I know.
You are very hard to track down. This vessel that you carry is interesting.
It wasn't supposed to be easy.
Good. You will do. Now pay the price.
I will pay no price you demand from me.
So her grip tightens a bit more. Blood. And she pulls a knife out from underneath. And she goes to place it on Pollux' hand. And she cuts it.
Pollux is starting to. Well,
The grip is going.
yeah.
Then she puts it away. She puts her hand over the top of it. And the blood goes. Such strength. You will be so strong soon. Good.
I'm counting on it.
Wait. And she releases. And then she goes back to looking at the fire.
So Pollux retracts really quickly after the grips has been loosened. He kind of holds himself and breathes heavily for a moment.
She goes.
Who was that? Please, you speak to Cobbin? Huh. Please. Is there anything for sale? Healing? Anything?
You don't want what I sell.
How do you know?
You carry with you something which is of great importance. The runes brought it here. You, Pollux, are but a vessel.
Pollux quickly turns and leaves.
So you see Pollux leaving the hut.
As you're leaving us, What do you look like when you leave? Like, I mean,
So
I presume you're just
there
holding
is
that.
but when you look at it, there's almost like a scar there, but there is no bleeding.
So do you just? I'm kind of. As I leave, I kind of go to keep going.
Yeah, I sort of put my hand out.
What is wrong, Pollux?
Oh, nothing. There's nothing really in there. I knocked my hand on something. Accident. It's fine.
Knocked your hand. Let me see. I know some medicine.
I presume I just see the same sort of scars that I've
Yeah.
seen before.
Yeah.
It looks fine to me.
No cut. Just maybe a bruise.
Yes.
I need to. I have something I need to find.
Anyone of interest in that?
No. Just crazy old woman.
Very well.
I will continue towards the hut.
Sure.
Pollux, you mentioned something about a place that sells has trinkets and stuff like that, like a little. Trinket
Yeah.
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 Okay. Assuming that I noticed that on the way, and I imagine I do, I'll make my way towards that place.
Okay, sure. So you get there, and it's literally just there's dolls for children. There's sort of crude jewellery. The young woman who looks at the store, she's quite pretty. You can tell she makes it all of herself with the kind of materials that she has available to her. Is there
Right.
anything in particular sort of thing that you're looking for?
Yes, I greet her and I say, "Do you have a small bell?"
She kind of looks around and you hear like a ding ding ding.
Yeah. You wouldn't happen to have any wire of any sort? How much for the bell?
She just hands it to you.
Oh, cool.
And he gives you a smile.
I'd smile, nod and say thank you. I continue to look for a little bit, but then having found nothing else that I particularly know, I'll be on my way.
Very good. Rin, you enter the hut.
Yes.
So, a similar scene is before you. You see the dried herbs hanging from the roof. There's some sort of cauldron over fire. A smell is brewing. There's the liquid on the shelves, and there is an empty chair.
No one else in there?
No.
And is there any back room or anything like that?
No.
I'll have a search around for just. I'll have a search around to see if there's any herbs that I recognise that would be used for healing or sort of making salves, things like that.
Yeah, I mean you do find that sort of stuff. You don't find anything particularly potent,
Sure.
or if you do, you wouldn't recognise it. There's a lot of stuff you also don't recognise. You're assuming it's local to the area, but as far as stuff to make healing salves and all that sort of stuff, but it's more stuff there'd be herbs which you would recognise that would use for minor irritations or burns and that sort
things
of
like that.
thing.
I'm not looking like I'm going to brew some healing tonics.
Sure.
More along the lines of things.
I mean, because my understanding is you have an understanding of this sort of thing, but a deep knowledge of.
Yeah, so
arcana.
it's more along the lines of if someone has it's like when you have you fall into a bush of stinging nettles, grab some dock leaf type thing. That's the sort of stuff that I'm looking for.
You do find.
I'll essentially gather up a bunch of that and put it because I've got one of my pouches.
Sure.
I'll just put a bunch of stuff into there.
Yeah.
Look around.
Do I
I see like anything at all? Because I know that Pollux has been here.
Yeah.
Because he said about a crazy old woman.
Yes, he did.
Can I have a search around to see if there is any like door or anything like that?
Sure. There's no need to roll because there's not.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the cauldron's bubbling with a fire underneath.
Mm-hmm.
I kick some sand, or is it? I mean, or is it floor?
Yeah, it's a dirt floor.
Okay. I kick some dirt onto the fire to put
Cool.
it out.
It kind of just goes out. It goes. Boo, boo, boo.
Yeah.
And again, the smell is something you don't recognise. Not unpleasant, but it's.
I leave.
Sure.
I'm going to track him down.
Sure. So I'm assuming you got your trinkets and then went back to the huts.
Yeah. Well, what kind of time of day is it now? By now?
Well, we're going to say that it's probably by this stage getting to like late afternoon.
Right.
So you've been walking along with Sahid
Yeah.
as well. You went to the tailor's. You got some stuff done. I mean, unless there's something specific that you guys want to do at this stage, you're all starting to get a bit hungrier. Like Samsoon is starting to set in the sky. You know that Nagal's going to start to rise soon out of the oceans to watch over everyone at night. So it is getting to that time where food would probably be something you'd be interested in.
Yeah, I've gone back already.
Sure.
Back to the huts.
Yeah, I would have spoken with Sahid, but I'd imagine I would head back in the afternoon as well.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, is there anything in particular you can, if you want to talk about it with anything in particular?
I do, but not now. We sort of had like some light talking. The main thing I asked about was the dark-skinned warrior and if he had managed to speak with him.
Yeah, so, I mean, without getting too much in the conversation, the dark-skinned warrior has not said a word. Cool. Which you both find very interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So I was just thinking. I imagine Pollux would eventually make his way back to the huts.
Mhm.
He doesn't get there in any hurry, though. He just kind of takes his time, takes the place in a little bit as he's going, and he doesn't enter the hut just yet. He kind of actually just hangs out outside for a bit. Yeah.
Very good. Very good. So evening begins to fall. You've all arrived back at the hut. Unless, there's some general sort of conversation that seems to happen. Food is served pretty much at dusk. Again, it's quite a nice hearty meal that you're given. They do leave a bottle of rice wine with you. Your shuriken have been delivered.
How many was it?
5. That seems appropriate.
I assume it's the equivalent of a dart weapon,
Yeah.
just like a throw.
Yeah. Stone stones.
What I don't know is if it's just 1d4 or I get to add any damage.
We could look that up. We can look at it in a minute.
Depends whether you're proficient with it.
In fact, we've done a little bit of role play now. What we might do, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. We'll look up those stats, and we'll see you in just a moment. So, welcome back. We've checked the stats for your new weapons. They seem pretty cool.
They are.
Yeah.
Cooler than I thought.
Yeah, they shouldn't have given you those.
I do get my money.
Yeah. Very cool. So it's now evening. As I said, a meal has been brought. You're sat around eating. If you would like to talk, you're welcome. If you need anything else, your servant, essentially, she's sat outside waiting patiently.
I'd like to call her in and just hand her the black cloth I got earlier on and ask her to make it into a tamard.
I will see that it is done.
Thank you.
Anything else, masters? She bows and leaves. She essentially, you can see she seems to make some sort of hand gesture in front of a candle, and someone comes and collects the cloth and then leaves. Probably to take it back to the tailor. Bow. But you know,
Yeah, you know, to tailor it.
yeah. Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine.
Everybody is.
Yeah.
He's drunk with power because they just do stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, takes back to the tailor.
Make me a turban! Cool. Okay, so that happens. You're eating. Anyone like to say or do anything?
So it's just the four of us in our own room again?
Yes.
Okay. Hakote looks up and says, I talked with Sahid today. He is a wise man. He will be a great ally to us, I think. I like him.
Good.
Can he fight?
Yes,
Sure of that.
yes. He has the eyes of a warrior. He can fight.
Very well.
And you?
I had an interesting conversation with some of the townsfolk today. I asked them, where is the place of ritual, of praying, of worship for the gods? Well, it is the Temple of Blood, of course.
No other?
So this place, which is a prison, is also a place of worship, it seems. It just reiterates to me that this is all quite nonsense and we are being deceived, but I guess we will find out probably tomorrow.
Well, you mean it is their temple?
From what little I managed to glean from them, yes.
Are you sure they understood?
I checked with the ones that spoke some common, yes. I asked, pray, worship. I made the motions for the gods. They seemed to understand. And when I asked about the guards and their tear of blood, they said tomorrow. We will find out tomorrow. The rest were not so forthcoming. But it seems to me that there is a great deal of anxiety amongst the people here to see us complete this ritual, and I do not believe it is for some notion of saving the world, as I have said before. I also had a rather interesting chat with a old woman in the hut.
Oh?
I did, yes. What was fascinating about it was that there was no one there, Pollux.
Oh?
You said to me that there was no one in that hut but a crazy old woman. And when I entered, and bearing in mind that there was a single pathway to this place, no one passed us between our conversation in the road. There was no doorway, there were no exits. Yet no one was there. So tell me.
There definitely wasn't a back door or anything. Or
I searched for one. I did search.
Okay, right, okay.
Yeah.
So this is for sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Continue.
Did she just... You stay in character now.
Wait a minute.
Ben, help me get out of this one.
No, I want to be sure what I was thinking to myself, like, there wasn't any other like back door or anything. I just want to be sure of that to make sure. All right, go on.
So, when you said to me that there was a crazy old woman in there, and I did not see one, that to me tells me a number of things. All of them may be true, some of them may not. That is quite some powerful magic in there. Your traveler is affecting your mind and your senses, or you lied to me. The first I can perhaps allow. The second and the third give me far greater cause for concern.
I can assure you I was not lying.
Then what happened in there to make you see this old woman?
It seemed as normal as if it was anyone else.
And what did you bash your hand on?
I left in a hurry. I hit my hand on the door.
You hit your hand on the door. If we are to be in this together, my friends, we need to be truthful with each other.
There was a woman there. I swear it. The fact that you told me that she wasn't there when you visited yourself. There's a mystery to me as it is to you.
Well, we do have another witness, of course.
Oh?
Well, yes, the fifth of us. Can we ask him what he saw?
Not willingly. He sees what I see. He would tell you the same.
I owe you a debt, Pollux. You have saved my life over these past few days, and I will remember this. But do not betray me.
I wouldn't dream of it.
Do not lie to me. And do not, or it will be your life. Do not bring into that temple something that will endanger our lives.
I would never want to do such a thing. Never.
Good. It is just so we are clear.
Of course.
And if you are seeing things at various points during our trial, our ritual, this temple, please let us know.
Of course.
If you see something we do not, perhaps it is something that we should be aware of, something that we should be looking out for, something that we should deal with.
I would expect the same of you.
Of course. If I see anything untoward, I will let the four of you know. As I just have. Make of it what you will.
Sorry, guys.
Come on now.
Oh boy.
Have a little sip.
A little sip of the tea. I'll sort you out.
Ugh.
I don't say anything else after this.
Good. You sit there quietly for a minute.
No, I don't think
Very good.
Well, Hakote sort of regards Pollux and then looks back at you, nods gently, and then looks to Jericho, who's doing what right now? Just sitting and eating.
Yeah.
Just chowing down.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Hakote starts to eat. He then gets his shuriken out and he undoes his weapons belt, and you can see that he starts to add the shuriken on, and you see there's actually been some slots on this belt already for some sort of dagger-like weapons. So perhaps he had some throwing weapons before, but he lost them, or they weren't in amongst his possessions, and he actually puts the shurikens in the slots on the belt. They seem to fit rather well, and then he puts that by his bed, and then once he's finished dinner, he turns to you and says, "I feel tomorrow will be a very big day for all of us. I will rest now. Good night. And he goes to put his head down.
So as you're as you're doing that, Jericho has like a set of Smith's tools, so you just sort of see him just maintaining his stuff. Like you can see like his chainmail and his sword and all that kind of stuff. It's all quite old, but it's well maintained. So he's just going to see to that. Once he's finished, he's just going to sort of put it to one side, sit there.
As you guys are doing this, Pollux has kind of been chilling out. He's pulled that little bell he got earlier out of his bag and a long piece of twine, and he's been tying the twine at one end of the bell. When he's done that, he goes to basically hang the bell up at the highest point he can possibly get it.
Okay.
And as he does that as well, he takes out a small, tiny little jar of dirt.
Mm-hmm.
And so, is it just the front door, or are there any kind of windows or anything?
There are
like that?
windows, yeah.
Yeah. He looks at the others who are still awake, and he just kind of regards them from where he says, "If you permit me, this will help protect us."
From what exactly?
I'm not sure. I just felt the need to.
I think if anyone was to come into this place during the night to... What exactly? We are required. The only people that would need to be rid of us would be people that do not want this ritual to go ahead. Of which case there are followers of Baal or followers of perhaps someone more benevolent. Do what you will.
Trust me.
You have made that quite difficult.
I understand. Hopefully we won't need this, but if we do, hopefully that will make that clear to you. We need each other. We all need to survive this. I would not imagine wanting any harm to come to any of us.
Continue.
So,
Are you going to kill us now?
He's actually making a garrote.
So at the door and the window, or any points where I thought could be a point of entry, I started to sprinkle a little bit of dirt. I mean, this is just kind of what he's doing. What I'm going to be casting a spell, and I'll be doing it as a ritual. I'll be casting alarm.
Okay.
So I can read that out to you just so you know exactly what it does.
Sure.
Cool. So it lasts 8 hours. So this is for during our rest period. So basically I set an alarm against any unwanted intrusion. So I choose a door or a window or an area within range that is no longer than a 20-foot cube. Until the spell ends, an alarm alerts you whenever a tiny or larger creature touches or enters the warded area. When you cast the spell, you can designate creatures that won't set off the alarm, so obviously I'll make sure that's you guys. You can also choose whether the alarm is mental or audible. So basically mental, that means it just makes me go ping and wake up, or whatever we're doing. Or if it's audible, then it makes a sound that everyone would be able to hear.
Right.
And this is why I've got the bell, essentially.
That I gave you for free.
Yeah.
That's a long play with the components there. Very good.
Nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
I enjoyed
Good.
that very much.
Okay, so an audible alarm produces a sound of a handbell for 10 seconds within 60 feet. So I'm not 100% sure if it would be just for around the door, or it could be around the whole. What's it called?
So
The
six.
whole-
So well, it's a 20-foot cube. You said.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's about what?
So depending on how
4
big.
squares. If we're thinking of
So if you're on a battle grid, it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So essentially, the hut is pretty small. You've kind of got like a bed in that corner, a bed in that corner, a bed in that corner, a bed in that corner. You've got the front door, and in the middle is that table that you've been eating. So effectively, if you were to do something like that, it would pretty much be for like the windows and the door and that sort of stuff as well.
Cool.
Cool. Okay. Cool. So how long does it take you to do that spell?
To do normal casting time is a minute, but since I'm doing it as a ritual, I think it takes about 10.
It's an extra 10, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
And I'm imagining I can just do that anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
You rolled a dice. What are you rolling a dice for?
That's fine. So you are alarmed.
Oh,
Oh no!
hang on. What, just now?
No, as in don't worry.
Because he doesn't want to alarm you.
Yeah. Oh,
But
Don't
you
want to
know,
alarm you, but
but-
you've been alarmed.
I see what you did there.
Oh dear, indeed. Okay, so yep, that's fine. You can totally do that. That's
Cool.
okay. Great.
So once that's done, I'll go to rest.
Okay, very good.
I've watched him do this, and then as he goes to bed, I do the same. But I will have my blades by the side of my bed.
Did you do it as audible or is it just for you?
No, it's audible so it'll be for everyone. Or it'll make a sound for everyone to hear.
What's the sound?
It's the bell.
The sound of a handbell.
Yeah.
Shames.
Okay. So all of you fall to sleep.
Yes.
Later that evening, you are awakened by the sound of a bell ringing. But that's for next session.
How dare you! How dare you!
Very good. Very good. I like that.
So tune in to see what's knocking at the door of these adventurers next week. Until then, thank you for watching, and we will see you very soon.